Welcome everyone to the Wheels Museum on this beautiful May 24th day. I've been running this project for 30 years and often I am asked the question, Leba, why did you start this project? And they say, I know it hasn't been easy, and that's for sure. So today I'm going to tell you why I did start it. In 1920, my grandparents came to Albuquerque on the train with 4 children, one of whom much later was my father. My grandfather came here to be the rabbi of Albuquerque, and it was a warm December day. When they got off the train in downtown Albuquerque, my grandfather raised his hands to heaven and said, Albuquerque is a special paradise on earth, and we must never leave this place. We are now 5 generations of our family in Albuquerque, which we love, and we like to give back to the city that has been so good to us. We never experienced anti-Semitism. We were allowed to work. We were allowed to try to make a living. My grandfather loved the Navajo rugs. He had opened a small kosher meat market, but he would walk downtown on Central Avenue and he would purchase Navajo rugs from those people who had made them, who were carrying them on their shoulder. And he began selling the Navajo rugs, and we later became quite a large distributor around America of Navajo rugs. We also were in the seashell business because the Santo Domingo Indians and Zuni and other Pueblos had asked us for seashells for their jewelry making. And we imported as much as 50,000 pounds of seashells for the jewelry trade here in New Mexico. We always had a wonderful relationship with these people, and we're always very, very happy to have the community that we had with them and with everyone who came into our business, which was the Freed Company. My father, when he came to Albuquerque with his parents, was 8 years old. He was so asthmatic that he could not walk across a room. And the doctors in the east where they had lived said, move to Albuquerque where the weather is so wonderful. The doctor told my grandparents, put Max, that was my father's name, to sleep on an outdoor porch. He slept on that outdoor porch until he was 38 years old, summer, winter, fall, and spring. When he was 38, he married my mother after having 3 dates. And they both lived to 90 in perfect health. So I wanted to give back. I had been working as a teacher, and then I was working in the family business, Freed Company. And when I heard that this rail yard, 27-acre rail yard, was for sale by the Burlington Railroad, I tried to find out more about it. I called the Burlington Railroad dozens of times, and no one would reply to me. Why would they? Why would they think that I could be helpful in this project? Finally, after many, many phone calls, a man came into our business, Freed Company, from Catellis, which was the real estate arm of the railroad. And he asked me if I would write him a document. And I said, I cannot write you a document. I've never even seen the inside of the buildings. And he walked out. He didn't even stay to talk to me. He walked out, no goodbye, nothing. And a few weeks later, he came back. And he said, Leba, would you write me a letter? I said, yes, I'll write you a letter that I want to see this property. So more and more weeks went by, no word. And finally, one day, he walked into the business, to Freed Company, with an armed guard. And I never knew, was I scary? Was he scary? Was there something? I never knew what the reason was. But we came over to the property and we walked into the machine shop. And when I walked into the machine shop, I broke down crying. I couldn't believe that this magnificent, iconic, most important place in America had been lying fallow since 1977. And that's when I started the effort that I've worked on as a volunteer full-time for 30 years to save and redevelop this most important property. So today I'd like to tell you some of the stories that have stuck with me and made an impression on me. There have been hundreds of stories. We've had over 150,000 visitors. We have over 10,000 exhibits. We were instrumental in the purchase of the property. We have contributed millions of dollars in planning and in work and in rehabilitation. We're on the rail yard board, on the UNM Tech board. But there are certain little sweet stories that stand out in my mind that I would like to tell you today. One of my favorite stories is about a little white ice cream wagon that we have here at Wheels. It was donated to us years ago. And one day, one of our board members came in to see me very upset and said, "Don't keep that ice cream wagon. That is not transportation. That is not part of our mission." But I love the little wagon, and I said, I want to keep it. So we kept the wagon. And one day, three very prepossessing gentlemen who were brothers, all dressed in suits, came into Wheels Museum. And they were older gentlemen, and they stayed here a long time, many, many hours. And I thought that was so interesting. So at the end of the visit, I said to them, "What was your favorite thing in the entire museum? Did you like the airplanes in the ceiling? Did you like our antique automobiles? Did you like our model trains, our real trains? We have more than $5 million in exhibits in here." And they said, "Our favorite thing was the little ice cream wagon." So I questioned them, how is that? And they said, "That is how our father made a living. He used to walk down the streets of downtown Albuquerque with the payetas that he had made and that the mother had made, and that is how he supported these three men who were now attorneys, professional men, decades earlier." And so they loved that little wagon. They gave us a very nice donation at that time. And we find every day that people come in laughing, crying, remembering things about the family that were so important as to how they got started here in Albuquerque. How did they make a living? My family struggled terribly. You can imagine a kosher meat market in those days on South High Street. My father and his two brothers would get up in the morning before junior high school, and they'd have to butcher a cow and go out and sell it. And I think that's something that most teenage boys are not doing nowadays. And I'm sure that these three gentlemen with the ice cream wagon were in the same situation, but they continued to work and they continued to build our city. So that story means a great deal to me. Another story that I love was told to me by people who lived across the street here. The family had 19 children, and the father was a railroad tie mover. He was a small man. He was supporting 21 people in a small home here in Barelas. And I was told that he could move about 90 ties a day. Now, a railroad tie is hundreds of pounds. They didn't have equipment. He was moving them by hand, 90 a day, if you can imagine. And I said, "Well, how much did he earn for lifting these railroad ties?" And his daughter told me he earned 1 penny a tie. So he was making 90 cents a day to support 21 people. A lady told me one time that really only on the holidays, Christmas and Thanksgiving, they had much in the way of fruits and vegetables. That was not available then. They were living on the beans and the corn and the rice, maybe some meat. Maybe they got some meat from my family. I don't know. But times were very, very difficult. An apprentice who started here as a teenage boy would earn 7 to 13 cents an hour. They were working 12 to 14-hour days. During World War II, this site was open 24 hours a day for the war effort, repairing 40 locomotives a month with 2,000 men a day working here at the rail yards. This place is the iconic center of the Southwest and of our lives, and it must be saved and rehabilitated. One story that sticks with me, but it's not a pleasant story. A lady told me that her mother had 23 children. Only 11 survived. It was here in this neighborhood. Only 11 children survived. I asked her, "How is that possible?" She said, "In those days, there was a great deal of intermarriage within families. If you were, let us say, a Baca, you were to marry a Baca. It was not understood that this could cause grave difficulties with the birth and the raising of children." So it was a very, very difficult time. The houses were small. Some did not have indoor plumbing. My family did not have indoor plumbing at that time. They had to heat the water for the bath and whatever they needed to do. Very, very, very hard. But it worked out. In 100 years, it worked out, and you see what Albuquerque is today. So I'm hoping that you will come to the Wheels Museum and you will see the photographs of the men who worked here and the women who worked here and the stories. And right now, we're very fortunate because we are redoing part of the museum with new showcases. and we are going to stress the stories of the workers. This is not a place with just cold hard facts. This is a place where we love our people, we love our Albuquerque, we want to save the history. Children come in on field trips and they tell me, we want to work in this museum. They love it. It's a hands-on museum. You can have a train ride, you can watch the model trains. We mentor children. We have many older people here who work with us, and we're here for our community and for our future. So I'm hoping that you will come and see us. We're open Monday through Thursday, 9 to 12, Saturdays and Sundays, 9 to 2. Well, thank you very, very much. As I said, we have been here for 30 years, so what are we going to do now? What has happened is that we are now bursting at the seams with exhibits. We have over 10,000 exhibit items here in the building, and almost every day we are having to turn down exhibits. The fire department came to me the other day. They'd like to bring another fire truck to us, but we don't have room for that. Someone offered 6 automobiles the other day. We were offered an Eclipse jet. We're offered train exhibits constantly, many, many things. So what is our hope? What is our goal? We want to expand. We did federally funded studies that show we can bring 1 million people to Albuquerque if we build up this site appropriately. The machine shop is the building that I'm looking at as I talk to you. It is 800,000 square feet. It is 166,000 square feet on the ground. We want this building for our steam locomotives, all the exhibits at Wheels. We want to expand our exhibits. We want to bring in more airplanes, more automobile exhibits, truck, bicycle, national shows. We are working with several other museums. The Smithsonian has said they would be very happy to work with us. The California Rail Museum is interested in us. We work with 2926 steam locomotive and others. We have our own private rail cars. We work with other train operators and groups. We are ready to fill it now. We're ready to fill the building. But the rehab for the building is over $100 million project. So this is our stumbling block, but this is the most important project in the state of New Mexico for tourism, for history, for culture, for economic development. We are 5 feet from the main line of the Burlington, Amtrak, and Rail Runner. Rail Runner is a sponsor of ours. The city of Albuquerque is a sponsor, Bernalillo County, the state of New Mexico. We've gotten funding from the federal government. We are looking for major funding to make this very, very important project for our state. This, I hope, will be the legacy of the Wheels Museum. And people are asking us every day how they can help, what can we do. They understand that this is the reason that we are here now. Albuquerque was 10,000 people when the railroad came, and we know now the roads are full of traffic. We know we have almost a million people in our Albuquerque and surrounds, so we want to bring the very best to these people and to the people who come to visit from all over the world. So please help us. Come and see the Wheels Museum. You'll enjoy it. You have a lot of fun, a lot of memories, and a lot of future ideas. We're here to help you and to be together, so thanks very much. If you want to call us, we're at 505-243-6269, and we're located at the south end of the downtown Albuquerque rail yards in a long gray concrete building with a sign that says Wheels, now open. We have some murals on the wall, and we have an international truck that we got recently that you can't miss that. So just come into our parking lot, ring our doorbell, and come and see us. We'd love to have you here. Thanks for listening to me. We are planning events all the time at Wheels, more and more all the time. And there's some I haven't told you about. On June 29th, a man named John Boersma is coming to talk about AI at 10 o'clock in the morning. There's no charge for this. And don't be scared of AI, because he's going to make us understand what it is and how it's going to help our future. And he's going to talk about AI as it connects with transportation. So this should be a very fascinating presentation. He's highly educated in this field, highly experienced, done this work all over the world. A very, very interesting man. So I hope you'll come at 10 o'clock on the 29th of June to hear John Boersma. There is no charge for this. Now, at July 6th, we have the Jeff Mann Trio. This is a fabulous musical group, and that will be at 11 o'clock in the morning. That's $10 to do that. You're going to love it. It's going to be fabulous jazzy music. And of course, you can see the Wheels Museum. There's no charge for the tour of the Wheels Museum. So you can have fun before or after. That is from 11 to 12. And we'll be here before, and we'll be here till 2 o'clock that afternoon. On the 13th of July, we have a man named Ron Panebouf, and he's going to talk about Hobey Baker. So I hope some of you know who Hobey Baker is. He was a very famous athlete, but he, in the World War I, but he flew the Sopwith Camel. So if you think that Snoopy is the only one who flew the Sopwith Camel, Hobey Baker really did fly it, and this is a fascinating presentation about that. Ron Panebouf is a veteran, and he gives presentations at the Veterans Memorial. He's a teacher, and he really knows how to make it interesting and wonderful. So I think you're going to love that one. There's no charge for that either. On the 20th of July, we have Steve Cormier. He's a cowboy singer of really international fame, and that's going to be from 12 to 1. And that's $10 for that. And then an interesting one, on July 27th, Hazel Lathrop at 10 o'clock is going to talk to us about a subject that you'll never guess, bus tokens. But it's very interesting, the different kinds of bus tokens around the country and how much they were and how they worked, and young people wouldn't even know probably what that is now. And she has examples of them, so that's going to be a lot of fun to hear her, and that will be on July 27th. There's no charge for that. And she's coming at 10 in the morning. So with all of these, you're welcome to see Wheels. There's no charge to come into the museum, and we hope that you'll come and be with us for all these and have a lot of fun with us on those Saturdays. So thanks so much.